Hello, it's Ren Presents time. I'm your host, Ren, and today we continue with the 6th turn of the Shadowtech Goddess, subtitled Cat, Part 1, Four Sisters, Chapter 4, Bird, Walker, Wheel, and Cat. In the previous chapter, our intrepid heroine and her Otacon demon arrive at the ruins of Clovis. Cat checks it out, thinks it's pretty cool, and sees the horrid doors that go into the depths below the ruins where she was instructed not to go, but where her Otacon insists she goes, but she has no desire to do so. She loses the Otacon, it falls through the cracks in the doors and goes down to wherever, and she has to go retrieve it because she needs the knowledge the Otacon can provide her. And stealing it herself, she went down, saw the catacombs, saw a dead body down there that began to rise on its own and walk in her direction. She takes the Otacon and flees, closes the doors, and vows never to return to those doors again, even though the angels told her that the above ground in the ruins are safe. She stays. She learns all about sunlight and colors and flora and fauna and that sort of thing, and that's where we left off. So we continue. Chapter 4, entitled Bird, Walker, Wheel, and Cat. As the days passed, she settled into a routine. She washed in the cistern. She would ask the Otacon the same question. Tell me, what is love? The Otacon despised the question. Every day it would offer a different answer.
Something that has no relevance.
What is love?
Love is a sudden kick in the teeth and a stab in the back.
What is love?
Love is a rotten piece of devoured fruit that will not digest and will not be expelled without assistance.
What is love?
A fatal envenomation that leads to hallucinations, nausea, insanity, and then death.
Cat laughed. You've answered all my other questions, or demanded I venture into the depths. Why not this one? Love must be truly grand if it's unknown to you. Later, the sun turned red and disappeared behind the mountains. Darkness came, stars returned. As always, she lamented the sun's passing. As she gazed at the emerging stars, she sensed the approach of others. She saw something move across the starry sky, not the sisters in their great ships, but something small with wings. From a different direction, something strode over the lofty tops of the mountains, moving fast. Finally, from yet another direction, something large moved along the ground, her Shadowtech tail flicking with interest. Feeling no fear, she crouched and watched the objects approach. The angels, the gods, the man, perhaps.
Avast! Black Hats approach,
the Otacon said. It was her sisters, all 3 of them, converging on this place. Her sisters, alive and well. One came down from the sky, nude, wearing a Shadowtech harness around her chest that allowed her to move effortlessly through the air.
She has created wings like a bird,
the Otacon said. Another sister came in, this time wearing a harness that mimicked her legs, only on a grand scale, her Shadowtech legs expanding and contracting, allowing her to step over the mountains in great strides. In one hand, she had carried a large weapon, also made of Shadowtech. The Otacon was enraged.
She has fashioned a bladed weapon of Shadowtech. That is a killing offense, and I demand you slay her for such folly, or release me and I shall do it. No!
Be silent, she said. The final sister moved along the ground in a construct that rotated around her, rolling like a pebble, carrying her along at great speeds. Behind her contrivance was some sort of basket-like construct that smoked.
She has created a wheel-like vehicle in Shadowtech, along with a large cart. In tow, I admire the ingenuity.
Held inside the cart was some sort of large, smoking object.
The stealth missile!
the Otacon cried in dismay.
She has claimed the return stage!
Her sister got out of her Shadowtech wheel and stood proudly before it, her filthy nude body playing in the shimmering starlight. Kat was overjoyed to see them. She bounded down from the top of the ruins, crouching on all fours, claws digging in, her tail waving about her head in excitement. "Welcome, sisters! Welcome to this place of wonders! We have arrived at last!" They saw her and came forward. The sister wearing the bird harness spoke. "Hail, sister! Where is your Otacon?" Mine wrenched itself from my body and thought to torment me as I emerged from the atmosphere suit to continue the treatment we suffered at Shade Church. I attempted to flee, but it turned itself into a ball of smoke and flew away. Your Otacon came to me. I watched it be destroyed. Fear it no longer. What is the harness you created? Kat asked. Her sister proudly unfurled her Shadowtech wings and held them up for all to behold. I once snuck to the surface at Shade Church and witnessed creatures moving across the air with great speed. I took inspiration from that and copied the creature. When the blinding light comes, I hide. When it goes, I can move across the air as they do. I saw that, Kat said. The blinding light is called daytime. Those creatures are called birds, and the great open space above is the sky. We are no longer denizens of the dark. Here, in the light and the open spaces, we must have names fitting our new station. All these wonders around us have names, and we must as well. We will call you Bird, for you are the master of the sky, mistress of the birds. I am glad you are here. How do you possess this knowledge? Bird asked with no small measure of wonder. I have come to know it. The sister in the leg suit lifted her weapon and spoke. Then I shall have a name as well. I too was accosted by my Otacon, demanding I submit. I made this mighty weapon in defiance of it, and, like birds, it turned into a ball and was wrenched from our place of battle. I know not what came of it. It came to me and was also destroyed. Kat admired her sister's masterful Shadowtech weapon. How did you create such a wonder? I was once given to a warlord to please his primal fires, and he had a weapon like this. I copied it. After my Otacon vanished, I created this harness to celebrate my victory and liberation. I must also have a name. The pillars of stone are called mountains, sister. We will call you Mountain Walker, or simply Walker, as you walk across the great mountains with ease, becoming their master. Walker was pleased. Their sister, who rode in on the great circle with the missile in tow, stepped forward, her nude body proud in the dark. She looked Kat over. What are you wearing? Clothes, given to me by the gods. Her sister considered this. Are you certain those clothes weren't meant for me instead of you? I do not believe so, Kat said. Why? Because I should have clothes. Only black hats wear clothes, and I wish to be a black hat. Then pray to the gods, and perhaps they will offer you some. Her sister rubbed her chin. The gods ought to pray to me. I also require a name, the greatest name of all, for I am strong. I fell to earth and went deep underground. I should be dead, but I am too great to die. I emerged triumphant from the atmosphere suit and crawled to the surface. There I was met with a terrifying emptiness. That is the sky. Do not fear it. Did you name it? I did not. I have come to know its name. Then under the sky, my Otacon came. We did battle. I killed it with my Shadowtech. I twisted its neck until it was dead, and I was alone. I must be a black hat to accomplish such a feat. Kat thought back. She remembered that 1, 2, 3 Otacons came from the sky and were destroyed. One for Bird, one for Walker, and the last for this sister. Perhaps she wasn't remembering correctly. Her sister went on. I saw a tower of smoke in the distance and went there, though the smoke was far away. Running on foot was too slow, so I devised this mighty Shadowtech machine. It is called a wheel. I know this, for I was once hand-selected to pull a cart of dignitaries across the Lebanon salt plains. The pulling was hard. We labored to pull. I was the lone survivor. The others pulling the cart died along the way, and I pulled their carcasses along with the cart through the salt. I recreated the cart and the wheel. The wheel took me to the smoke, which came from the Black Hat's missile and its return stage. I dug it from the ground and lifted it with Shadowtech. The missile shall return me and me alone to the Black Hats. She looked about in a threatening manner. I am afraid I shall have to destroy the lot of you, for we all seek the same thing. Bird shook her head. We do not. I wish nothing further to do with the Black Hats and their missile. You may have it, sister. Return to the Zaffins and wreak terror amongst them if you must. I wish to stay here and discover all there is to see. As do I, Walker said. And me as well, Cat said. This is a place of angels, and I have been promised gifts. More gifts? Bird asked. Yes, the final sister shook her fist. Good. They will not have to kill you. I wish to be a Black Hat and hold dominion over all. I wish to inflict upon others what was inflicted upon us. I want that power. I long for it. Then I will help you get it, Cat said from her perch atop the ruins, her tail flicking. First, we will call you Wheel, the Black Hat, for you travel in a great wheel. And what will we call you? Wheel asked. You are a wearer of clothes, a teller of stories, and believer in angels and the gods. I do not believe in them. But they are real. The angels saved us years ago, and hand-selected us to live, saved us from the Black Hat's fires. They came to me as I emerged from my suit half dead. They gave me nutrition to revive me, and wondrous clothes to wear, and goggles that I might see in the daylight. You can see in the daylight? Bird asked, awe in her voice. I can. As for my Autocon, it came to me and I defeated it using the angel's gifts and forced it to provide me with information. Your Autocon lives? Wheel asked. By my leave. It has provided me with information. My name is Cat, given to me by the gods. Cat is my name. First, Cat insisted they wash and be civilized. She led them to the cistern where they splashed into the water. Bird and Walker laughed, submerging and jumping back up. Wheel appeared dour at first, but even she enjoyed the bath. Tell me again why you have clothes and goggles and I do not, Wheel asked several times as she bobbed in the water. After washing in the cistern, Cat led them up the hill to the location of the doors leading into the ground. They walked the pathways leading out of the ruins, their freshly washed bare feet crunching on the stones. Cat stopped at the statues, admiring them. Ahead, up the hillside, lay the doors, sunk into the ground, silent and innocent in the starlight, covering the face of evil. Walker hesitated. Something festers up ahead. I feel it. There is great danger there, Cat said. The angels have told me, and I have witnessed it. A ghost haunts below. I shall go no further. A ghost? Wheel asked. Was it the Shadowtech goddess? Possibly. Wheel came forward, proud and naked, walking on the balls of her feet with flair. She stared at the doors built into the ground. The doors silently dared her to enter. She was impassive as she studied them. I am not afraid of the doors or ghosts. Black Hats do not feel fear. Bird spoke up. I'm afraid. I want nothing to do with them. Walker stepped back. There is something wrong with this area. Can you not feel it? What? What is wrong? Wheel asked. I feel nothing. I cannot be more specific. Something is not right here. Wheel scoffed at Walker. She brazenly strode up the steep path and put her hands on the latches, pulling the doors open with aplomb. Cat felt a moment of terror as the doors opened. She watched, half expecting Wheel to die suddenly or have the ghost woman at her throat. But none of that happened. The doors were thrown open, revealing a quiet, inky darkness plunging precipitously down into the hillside. No ghost, no light, nothing. What happened to the light and the sounds? Cat wondered. What happened to the terrifying figure lurking below? It was a bit of a disappointment. Wheel peered down into the open doorway. She looked back. I could command you all to come with me. Then I would laugh at you, for you do not command me, Cat said. I am a Black Hat. I am not afraid, Wheel said. You are not a Black Hat. You are a crawler like us. I am the most powerful of all crawlers. I held Skull Charnel City in my grasp. None dared challenge me for it. Then become a Black Hat. Your prize awaits you in the depths. And we are not afraid either, Cat said. There is simply nothing we want in this hole. Wheel scowled a bit, then went down the long flight of steps, her feet crunching on the grit, her head ratcheting down one step at a time, her hair the color of night. Cat and Walker came forward to close the doors. When they arrived, Wheel was standing far below at the bottom by the archway, staring in. There was no blinding light as Cat had seen before, just seething darkness veiling the mystery and emptiness within. Wheel hesitated, trying to see what awaited her in the dark. Then, as proudly as she could, she passed through the arch, her naked body disappearing from the light. Cat and Walker closed the door behind her with a dramatic clank, sealing her in. They retreated back down the hill past the statue. Bird, nervous, was thankful to leave the area, as was Cat. "I hope she finds what she is looking for down there," Bird said. "As do I," Cat replied. "Do you think she needs our help?" Bird asked. "Yes," Walker said. "However, she went down there of her own free will. I will not go." They returned down the path to the safety of the ruins, the horrid feel of the doors gone. Bird and Walker claimed habitation near to Cat's. Cat showed them her Shadowtech defeating central cubes, her books, her basket, and the device constraining the Autocon. They marveled at the shiny metal baton with its glowing eyes in the center. The Autocon was noisy. It pleaded with them to kill Cat and proceed with their mission, essentially to join Wheel underground.
"Kill her! Kill her at once! I command it!"
They laughed at it and enjoyed picking it up and dropping it to the floor. "Why are you so favored of the gods?" Bird asked Cat as she beat the Autocon against the floor. "I do not know. Perhaps the gods will come for us as well and shower us with gifts," Walker said. "Let us hope so." And then Cat showed them her photograph. They'd huddled around and gazed at it. "Who is this?" Walker asked. "A man. A gift to me from the angels and the gods, like my clothes and my cubes." "The gods are kind. He is a handsome man," Walker said, looking at the picture. "Where is he?" "Do not know. The angel said he is somewhere nearby. I intend to find him at once." "Very inviting," Walker said. "I was given to men by our black hat masters many times, but none were as handsome as your man." Cat burned with curiosity and question. She had never been around a man. "You were? And what did you do? What was done with this man? Did he abuse you?" "Abuse me?" Walker thought a moment. "I do not know. The Black Hats took me and several others into the light. They washed us, clothed us, scented us, fattened us up, and put us up on display before roving groups of men. I was selected several times. I do not know if they abused me or not. We often wrestled. They put their bodies all over me and tore my clothes off. And we wrestled. They grunted like beasts. Considering all we had suffered in Shade Church, crawling in the dark, getting washed and fed, and wrestling with the men was a pleasant afternoon by comparison. I did not mind it so much." Cat listened and closed her eyes. She couldn't wait to find the man and abuse him, which apparently consisted of eating, washing, and wrestling. She already knew how to eat and wash. She would ask Walker to teach her how to wrestle. "What about love?" Cat asked. "Love?" Walker frowned. "I do not know what that is." Over the next few days, Cat, Bird, and Walker woke every morning and bathed in the cistern, laughing and splashing in the water. Cat shared her goggles with them so they could walk about in the daylight. Cat discovered her eyes were becoming accustomed to the light. She didn't need the goggles as much. Incredibly, Walker liked the god's soap. She washed herself with it, though water turning to an odd froth, her skin smelling like the wind. Bird also liked the soap, but she didn't wash with it. Instead, she molded the soap into little shapes and figures. She was becoming quite skilled. Without fail, every day, when the sun climbed to its highest point, Cat would return to their habitation and find more gifts from the angels waiting for her, usually a few more pieces of clothing, and a large container full of delicious hot food which she shared with her sisters. She was always careful to set some food aside for Wheel, should she return from below and be hungry. After a few days, Bird and Walker were fully clothed with pieced-together items, though they both shunned the slippers, as Cat did. The gods began leaving them odd bits of clothing that bewildered them. Thin, shapeless squares of cloth, along with lightweight, bulbous cubes that seemed to be filled with air.
Those are blankets and pillows to warm your worthless bodies and support your tender, empty heads,
the Autocon said. They had no idea what to do with them. Cat was astonished and rather annoyed when Bird took the blankets and pillows and ripped them into narrow strips, wrapping them around her forearms and calves, though Cat liked the look and copied it, destroying all the blankets and pillows. Walker too, though Bird had to help them get it right. Cat never saw the angels leave the food or the clothes, and if she waited in the habitation to greet the angels, nothing would come. Every so often she would catch a glimpse of smoke drifting away from the habitation, marking the angels passing, but that was all. Walker taught Cat how to wrestle, the two of them rolling in the grass, twisting their limbs into strange positions. Bird eventually joined in, all three of them wrestling, usually Cat and Bird versus Walker. Walker was skilled enough to wrestle them both and still win. Bird wasn't very good at wrestling, getting in the way and hanging on most often. She was much better with her hands, taking things she found in the habitation and twisting them into amazing decorations, which she hung around her neck. She loved the disgusting soap the angels had given her, creating fascinating little statues with it. She eventually created so many she shared. Walker was a goddess to Cat. Big, solid, very beautiful. Walker allowed Cat and Bird to examine her naked body. Having been raised in the dark, they barely knew or understand the landscape of their own bodies, save what they could easily see. Lying back in the grass, Walker allowed them to look. Cat was amazed by what she saw, and a little saddened too. Walker was much larger and fuller than Cat was. Her legs were longer and meatier. Her backside was much bigger, and her breasts were gigantic compared to Cat's. Cat thought she was beautiful in comparison to her own skinny body. The Autocon tormented her on the subject.
You see, proper men value a great posterior and a lovely set of breasts. They worship them.
But why? Cat asked.
Because they can grab them, toy with them, decorate them, offer them in barter and trade. Such a pity you have nothing to grab with your insignificant breasts, your puny little titties, and unacceptable posterior.
Even Bird's body was of greater proportion than hers. Cat wondered why she was favored of the gods over Walker, and was secretly terrified that her man, once he arrived, would choose Walker with her breasts and her massive rear end over hers. And then they would discuss love, trying to wrap their heads around it, trying to determine what it was. Bird thought love might be the wind in her hair as she flew. Walker was certain love was a place one could visit. She thought love must be a temple in the mountains. And Cat? She had a thought love might be how she felt when she looked at her man's picture, and how she felt as she waited for him. Those were their days. They ate, they washed, they played, they discovered each other, and they contemplated love, and they slept. And that concludes Chapter 4, Bird, Walker, Wheel, and Cat. A little shorter chapter than the previous two. Cat has linked up with her three sisters at last. The one she named Bird, very small, kind of bookish girl. The one she named Walker, very big and beautiful, much more filled out and athletic than Cat is. And the one she named Wheel, who wants to be a black cat, wants to inflict pain and suffering. She doesn't seem like the rest. She's driven and she wants to become a black cat. And she is now underneath the catacombs, determining whatever is down there. I wonder if we'll see her again. I wonder. It might be better if they didn't. Anywho, that is our conclusion of Chapter 4. Next chapter, Chapter 5, is entitled The Ghost. And until next week, this is Ren Presents. I'm your host, Ren. Peace out.